Friends and fellow travelers, welcome back to the Journey Well as we continue with day 13 of the Tarot and Shadow Challenge from the Tarot Diagnosis. This one looks like it's about forgiveness. So the question is, where do I need forgiveness in my life? And if you look closely, I have 13 tattooed right there. So that was unintentional. It was supposed to be a number representing the near-death experiences that I had while deployed to war, but ended up being 13. I did not have 13 near-death experiences, but I still love the number 13. And I think it's funny that it's an unlucky number because I've always, been drawn to it for some reason. Maybe because, 3 is unstable, 1 is the beginning. You add 1 to 3, you get 4, which is stability. Or just because, I've always liked mystical. I've liked the ghost stories when I was a kid. I always like that stuff. So anything related to that as I become an adult now is something I'm drawn to, and that just keeps happening. I don't know. It's one of those things that I tell people how what we loved as a child is often something we need to bring back in our life. And the more I do that, the more I realize it's this occult, mysticism, magic, and not horror, but that genre, not really slasher films, but I like the scary stuff. I like the spooky stuff. So let's embrace the season of this shadow challenge. I like the shadow, all those dark things I'm kind of drawn to in a lot of ways. So I'm bringing those things back in my life. But right now, that's not the topic of discussion. We're talking about where do I need forgiveness in my life? That's where I need it. Right on this table, the 3 of Swords in reverse. The thing that's really striking me about this card is last night, this morning, or whenever it was, I had a dream about grief. Not about grief, but about some things that I did in the past that weren't the kindest thing. I thought they were fun. I thought they were frivolous. I thought people were enjoying it. But as I get older, I realized that, yeah, I enjoyed it, but other people didn't. And not to say that I was being a bully, but in that moment, I look back at it and I wasn't, being very respectful or kind to the person that I was teasing and I regret that because we were friends and he would laugh when I would do these things. But later, after I got out of the Army, we reconnected through a phone call that he made to a friend. And then he said, I was given the phone. We said, hi, gave it back, and then I could hear him say, why did you do that? And then my friend said, well, I thought you guys were friends. And then he said, well, we're not. And that hit me where I was like, all of these memories of the things that we did that I thought were fun, he probably hated, but he just didn't know how to express anything other than laughter and like, ha, 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 I'm getting connection here. But when that ended, I'm sure he sat with a lot of feelings and his home life wasn't awesome. I didn't know that either. And so there's all these things, and this forgiveness I need, since this is inverted, I really feel it's a call to forgive myself because there isn't always the availability to go repair a relationship. Sometimes that's not necessary. Sometimes it's not needed. And I have gone and sought forgiveness from people that I've treated unfairly in my past. And they were hurt and they expressed how hurt they were when, how could you have not thought that would have bothered me? And I said, I don't know. I didn't consider it. And those are really hard conversations to have, but I had them and, there was maybe some repair. I'm just hoping that, it helped them in some way understand maybe something that made them take a different path in life mentally or a negative self-thought they had or, a story they told themselves around those events. But this is one that I had a nightmare about, honestly. And it was last night. So getting this card, it really speaks to the internalization of it. It doesn't tell me outside of myself. That dream was a messenger of this card. I really believe now that I've pulled it. I saw it and I was kind of stunned because I woke up feeling heavy. I woke up feeling incredible guilt, like my heart had been stabbed. And as much as I want to believe that I'm this great person or I'm a really good person and I was the victim in the past, I victimized other people. I was not always kind to other people. And that sits heavy on my heart. And I need to forgive myself for that. And if given the opportunity, I will apologize and I will have that conversation and let whoever I hurt, not hurt me, but pour out what their feelings are and not all of a sudden, oh, I just apologized to you, so you need to just accept it and move on. That's not what the heart of this is. I'm really struck by this card and my dream, because the internal landscape is connected to the collective unconscious, I believe. And I haven't had that dream ever, but I did last night, this morning, whenever it was. I had a lot of dreams, and I really need some self-forgiveness. I mean, even looking at the symbolism in this card, you have these cobwebs. It's kind of like speaking to me in this moment that it's the cobwebs of past memory. In my mind, there's these cobwebs, and they need to be dealt with. They need to almost be cut away through the act of self-forgiveness, through the act of compassion, and just holding space for the person that maybe doesn't even think about me anymore. Maybe they aren't bothered, but I am. I'm bothered with the way that I behaved. I'm bothered with the way I acted in certain situations, and these memories come up, and I sit with them. I overdo it, I think. Everything I said, I'm taking a shower and I'm thinking about this lack of standing up for myself, or this way that I spoke unkindly or tried to be funny and wasn't funny, and the embarrassment of that. There's all these cobwebs of the past that come into my mind, and I need to forgive the people that hurt me when I have these reoccurring thoughts, because those spider webs there connect memories that shouldn't be connected, so that I have triggers in my walking life, because this happened, so it touches here, and that traumatic memory was stored with the sense of smell, with the sense of sight, with the sense of sound, instead of just the sense of sight. So when it's triggered here, and it's just this cascade of emotions that I haven't dealt with, whether that's me doing something to somebody or someone doing something to me. There are those calls to grief and to just process, because I can't keep in the same loop over and over for the rest of my life. I can't take showers and keep regretting the time that I sang as loud as I could because I was going to be bold this time, and I had an ear infection, so I didn't hear them say there was no more singing. And so I just belted the Christmas song, and nobody else was singing, and it took me a good measure and a half before I realized everyone was looking at me. And I said, never again am I ever going to sing out loud. And so today still, I have a hard time singing in front of people. Like, there's all of those memories that come up, and the forgiveness of myself for beating myself up is a part of it. The forgiveness of myself for not being the best version of myself because I was in trauma and I was acting out of trauma signs. And to just, whenever given the chance, to hold space for the people that maybe I did hurt or treat unfairly. And yeah, that's a heavy one today. Forgiveness for yourself is hard. Forgiveness for other people is hard as well. There's no such thing as simple and easy forgiveness. So I hope that you can find a process that allows you to forgive yourself and forgive others, because forgiveness is not about letting people off the hook. It's just about processing in grief so that we can be witnessed, even in here in this moment, sharing that little story with you. It's not like this stop the presses, listen to the story kind of a thing, but it's still, I feel witnessed. I still feel like I expressed something outside myself, and that will help me. That's part of the process of my own forgiveness. This process is very much my journal. I just do it through audio and video versus writing. Sometimes I write, but this is the practice. So thank you for holding space for me. And I hope that this helps you hold space for yourself and others, because that's the true power of this medium. I feel it, even though it's just a lens. Like, I feel connected, and I feel supported and held by those of you who support me. And I hope to offer that to you. But, if this is something that's meaningful and you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel so you can stick around, so I can see you in other videos and interact with you, because this is my daily practice and I'm not stopping. I can't stop. Otherwise, I lose all this progress and I fail to continue to grow. And I'm so sick of not growing. So until next time, journey well, my friends.